Now we were discussing the Unit 4, Assessing Student Learning for Mother Tongue, Lesson 3, Design Performance Tasks. Assessment in the NTB-MLE is fully grounded on the measurable performance standards that is interpreted into a more detailed and task-specific learning competency based on the identified non-negotiable content standards. The performance standards provides the baseline for the frequency of assessments. Consequently, plans for instruction is integral to a full cycle learning experience of the learner and plan for a plan for assessment so intrinsic to meaningful learning. One of the most effective means of measuring meaningful learning in the classroom is to design and provide performance tasks to young learners that would allow them to demonstrate their learnings. So, for mother tongue, it is crucial that learners are given opportunities to demonstrate what they can do at their appropriate level. They should be given ample chances to interact or socialize and use the target language, in this case, their mother tongue, as frequent as possible. According to John B. Watson, the father of behaviorism, was quoted saying, "Psychology is a purely objective, experimental branch of nature's natural science. The position is taken here that the behavior of man must be considered." In this reference, Watson is saying that in order for psychology to be scientific, it must focus on a person's observable behavior. It must provide measurable evidence to signify an individual's thoughts, beliefs, and learnings. In effect, he is indirectly saying that a person must be repeatedly perform a behavior before one can say that learning has occurred. Performance tasks enable teachers to gather evidence not just about when a student knows, but also what he or she can do with that knowledge. Rather than asking students um, rather than rather than asking students to recall facts, performance tasks measure whether a student can apply his or her knowledge to make a sense of a new phenomenon or design a solution to a new problem. In this way, assessment becomes phenomenon based and multidimensional as it assesses as both scientific practices and content within a new context. As we move away from traditional testing, the purpose of assessment begins to shift. Instead of only measuring students' performances, we also strive to create an opportunity for students to learn throughout the process. So, in this situation, not only are students learning more as they are being assessed, but the feedback you gain as a teacher is far richer than traditional assessment. This allow teacher to gather more information about what students as and what's what students do and do not know in order to better inform meaningful next step in their teaching. Performance tasks are intended to assess individual student performance and can be administered at point that makes sense for your instruction, either within or at the end of a unit or a discussion. It is helpful to think that performance tasks as mini, midi, and maxi tasks when considering the length of time and amount of effort for each of the tasks. And now, let's discuss first the mini assessments. Mini assessments are quick tasks that are designed only for single class period. It helps students in acquire important information while providing teachers with crucial feedback. One example of this are quick dialogue with the teacher. So, in this kind of assessment, not only the students help acquire important information regarding the discussed lesson, but also the teacher receive or provide a crucial feedback regarding to the discussion. And the second type of performance test that we'll discuss is the MIDI assessment. MIDI assessments are performance tasks that require 2 to 3 class periods to complete. Some examples of these are writing and revising articles, drawing, comic strips, and etc. So, if the teacher give an performance task regarding the writing or revising an articles, drawing, and and other activities that can consume 2 to 3 class periods of class to enable to complete that assessment is belong to MIDI assessments. And lastly, the maxi assessments. Maxi assessments are performance tasks that require more than 3 class periods to complete. These are culmination projects of what the students have learned in a specific amount of time. Some example of these are rehearsing and performing short plays and scenes, writing a short story, creating scrapbooks, and etc. The example performance tasks that belong in these maxi assessments is the having a drama performance in front of the class, and having a poem recital, and other performance tasks are an assessment that acquired or that can consume 3 class periods or more than 3 class periods to complete. Performance task assessment may be in the form of first, visual representation tasks. The visual representation tasks like comic strips, graphic organizers, electronic presentation, and etc. Like having a drawing, painting, or whatsoever that can consider an visual or being part of visual representation task. And the second is in a form of written task. So in written tasks like in a summative test, essay, and quiz, and those can consider a performance task are in a form of performance task assessment in a form of this written task. And the third is oral presentation. Oral presentation is for example is that oral recitation, and having a poem recitation, or every assessment task that required oral or voice in order to participate. And the last but not least, for the large scale project on performances, this type or in a form of performance task assessment, like a large scale, like having a short plays or performing a short drama plays or scenes, writing a short story, or creating scrapbooks, or anything assessment that required more time or more effort in order to finish it.